Shivaya, 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 Namo.
Almost whatever experience you have that experience and the joy of being. It's like it's always and that, or it's in that. It's not anymore just an experience like, oh, I have a headache. You have a headache in the joy of being. You see? If I had some anxiousness is there in the joy of being. If there's tiredness in the joy of being. There's pain in the joy of being. So then everything becomes almost bearable. Almost everything becomes bearable as far as I can see. Because always against that background, which is effortless, and because it is effortless, it doesn't seem to have an end. It's not connected to an intention to do something. Then that's the more profound, the more pronounced experience. The rest is a kind of a ripple that passes through. Like everything is, like it is the common denominator to all the experiences. But when I talk like that, I kind of half expect you to confirm that. Because I cannot be telling you something that's not true for you.
It is true.
Yeah. Just that we forget, or that we are inclined to think differently about it, to put other concepts about it there. When I gave the example that if you have a fever, if you have a fever for 2 weeks, and for 2 weeks inside that fever state everything is happening, your life is being lived in that fever state. Everything you do, doesn't matter what, from talking to walking to sending your emails to cooking, going to the bathroom, having a shower, meeting your friends, talking with your family, going to work, everything is taking place inside that fever state. And the same way with the self state, which is really not a state. It is a sort of state-free state, or a stateless state. That every other state appears in it, but it is not appearing. So nothing is ever just the thing. It is the thing arising in that. Like any cloud, anything that happens in the sky is a movement against the background of the sky, which is unchanging. It's always, what exactly is the sky? The mind interprets the sky as the movement of the clouds and the sun, the movement of the sun, and the changes of the weather and the wind and the sense of space, and all of this is sky. But when we say sky, what is it that we experience? It's like all these movements. But watch any cloud, it has a beginning, it has an end, but the sky does not. Even when there's no light there. What is the sky? Is it the stars? Is it the sun? Is it rainbow? Is it cloud? Is it a certain kind of cloud? So the same thing we can apply to ourselves like that. Whatever emotions you're experiencing, it is experiencing in the sky of your own being. They are just like clouds passing through the sky of your own being. But the sky is not passing, only the cloud is passing. Even the sun seems to be passing. Even the planet seems to be passing. But that expanse is not passing. And knowing this, like, experiencing this, confirming this, verifying this, where does our life fit in? I mean, like, where's the one who is doing anything fits into it? It is just sort of like a happening. And even the perceiving of it is a happening spontaneously. And the perceiving of it is there. And the beginning and ending of perceiving and perception is also somehow known. Then surely what doubts can we have? Who are we? How can we leave ourselves aside as a person to say, okay, that's my reality, I keep out of that, but everything else is passing, everything else is changing. And now this fundamental seeing reveals something, but I am not a part of that. I see that, but I am not. Well, who is the I then? You know, what is its? Where is that? Something must happen to you when you look like that. Something must take out the noise of duality. That duality is the play, the dance of the existence, the dance of life, the play of changes, the sense of time, the sense of personhood, the sense of presence, all that is perceivable. But the seat of the perceiving itself, the core of the perceiving itself, can it be identified? Is it an it apart from us? For this, thinking is not enough. Because thinking itself is perceived. And the perceiving of thinking is perceived. And when we come to such a stage of seeing, rightly speaking, there's not much left to do. You cannot split that into other techniques. There's no other techniques. There's no other practice that you need to do. This is enough. Once you've seen your face in the mirror, do you need to keep looking in other mirrors? Doesn't matter what shape the mirrors are, will they show you another truth? So you have to find that question that really puts the light out on other questions. Is there such a question that will put the light out on other questions? And when it somehow brings you to the thing to be seen, finally it also vanishes. Where do all the questions lead to? More questions? They must lead to something. Otherwise, why do they exist?
Mooji, I can sense somehow this sense of this stillness or something.
Stillness.
It's a stillness. Stillness.
Stillness, yeah.
And it's it's just this sense. It's just this.
Yes, it is the same. That stillness, nothingness is there. But that which perceives it, is it different from it? Because something comes and it seems to steal the limelight and says, yes, I see it. But is this something, a separate something than it? This is why I ask when you say I can perceive the stillness. I say, who are you? The perceiver of stillness. Are you an unstillness or another kind of stillness? What are you comprised of? So that which sees the stillness, is it a person? Be careful, because for a very long time it has been registering itself like it is a person. I can see the stillness.
Has been seeing. Often what happens is there is a looking what has been seen. Does that make sense?
No. There's a looking for what has been seen.
No.
What do you mean?
Well, in the past of inquiry, where there's been complete collapse of absolutely everything into nothingness. And that is always there.
But what is there now? What is there then? If you see the collapse of everything, what is there then? And who is reporting about it? Because we are constantly avoiding the obviousness of what is. And the mind just then comes in and reports about it. Yes, you know, it happened to me one time. This thing fell away and I saw this like it was something belonging to time or to past. Yeah, this experience happened. But the memory of the experiencing happened is itself being perceived now by that which is not a memory. We keep thinking and in very complex ways that that which is to be seen is some kind of metaphysical seeing must happen and all of this. Because we are so trained and so conditioned and so educated, you see. So we cannot accept this, because this does not need education. Common sense, intelligence, maybe some pointing, something reminding you to not to be so faithful to your conditioning. The thing is obvious to itself. It's not produced out of university. It is ever present now. But the sense of ourself, the belief in ourself as this one who is on a journey, you cannot confess that this is a dream yet, because we impart a greater reality to the sense of ourself, doing something, learning something, becoming something, becoming more pure. That is also a version that consciousness creates also, and for a time it will play, but it is not the ultimate. And the ultimate is not waiting in another room. Total innocence. We put so many things, so many conditions, so many things you have to do. Yes, I've got to finish this and then I can give more time to this and stuff. It's all nonsense actually. In that ultimate state of pure common sense, of pure understanding, pure seeing, you can only confess, you cannot teach. You have to confess. Yes, of course I am that. What other room is there for me to live but that? What other address have I but that? And even to call it an address means that it's me and that. It's not my address. This home is not an address. This home is my own self. But at the same time, the dream has its part, its role to play, because I am also in that also, experiencing myself with that, to see if ultimately duality would confuse me. And the only way that I become confused in duality is by taking myself to be the body, which I need to experience the duality. Once we take the name, we are initiated into duality and personhood. Then quickly an addiction is formed with the identity there. And really, we don't want freedom actually. Nobody really wants it. Even we talk about it, we don't want it. We just like the concept of it. You want to have freedom, but still be your ego. Because we have a feeling that without the ego is a larger part of me. It is where my content is, it's where my story is, it's where my history is, it's where my passion is, it's where my presence is, it's where my future is, it's where my desire is. And without these things, then what am I? I can't desire. And I love desire, painful as it becomes.
Mooji, the awareness that I have in this moment, what there is, I had the feeling that in the past it's always the same awareness, that I'm not changing. It's constantly the same awareness wherever I go.
Yes, you're saying if you hear that, the awareness that you said I have at the moment, but I'll put it like this. My present understanding is, I believe you're saying, the recognition has been that it's the same awareness that's always been there, isn't it? It hasn't really undergone any change. Does awareness undergo evolution? We need to really slow down and look at it. Does awareness evolve? It would be like saying that space evolves. But something is in a flow of evolution. In the realm of experiencing and the play of duality, there's always a movement, and where there's a movement, there must be a change. And when there's change, there must be growth, or evolution, you may say, expansion, and all of this. So there's no argument about that field, except that the consciousness has to be there for that field to be perceived. Prior to anything that you can report, the consciousness must already be there. At least simultaneously it must be there. I have to tell you that all this talk is just for fun, actually. It has to be just for fun, because it cannot be that it takes all of these things to be yourself.